little dark in here. Hey, I have a solution. Here's my light, my little light. I remember a song. It's a pretty good light. I can see my hands. I'm right around me. It's not bad, but there's not very much. And if I had to distribute all this light to everybody, I think I better, I don't know. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. You know that song? How many of you remember that song? Help me with that. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. But you know what? It's such a little light that I don't know what you think about this, but I think I'm better off just keeping it to myself. So I'm going to put it under a bowl. What? No. But it's hide it under a bushel. What? Oh. Bushel, no. I get it. Okay, the congregation's against me on this idea of the bushel. All right. So this light is supposed to teach us something. And clearly, I'm not supposed to hide it because I'm supposed to learn something. You are the light of the world. The city on a hill cannot be hidden. People don't light a lamp, and then put it under a bushel. Instead, they put it up on a lampstand, and it sheds light to everyone in the whole house. This little light of mine. And so it says, so let your light shine, that people may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. That's what I want to talk about. And we'll let this little light shine because that's what we're going to talk about in this sermon and have been talking about. It's really a continuation of last sermon. That light, that little light that we have, represents our faith, believing the truth that transformed our lives. It's our transforming faith. And indeed, that moment that you believed in Jesus Christ, the moment that you said yes to Jesus, a number of things happened that transformed each one of our lives, transformed your life. The number one thing, and I remember it to this day, when I first gave my life to Christ, before coming to the altar, I was resistant. I felt the guilt. It was like this huge load was on my back. And do you remember that moment that you said yes, and you went and you prayed to receive Christ, maybe at an altar like I did, and it felt like that load was lifted so that you really felt 30 pounds lighter. You check the scale, well, nothing changed there. But the load of guilt was so huge, it transformed you. It was like a new day, a new start. It was a new life. And then the possibility of never walking alone. That truly people can be alone in this world, totally lonely, isolated from others, segregated because you're not popular enough, not this enough, not enough money, and these things segregate us. But the moment we invite Jesus Christ and we believe the truth, it transforms us because we sense it. We are never alone again. God Himself walks with us and we know it. Never again the same. The way we approach other people, we begin to sense changes going on within us. Things that we used to be, that we used to care about, that we used to like, that were leading us to no good. Those desires lose their grip. And there's a new desire for what is holy and healthy, and there's an inward change, and that is the light. We are lit up because of Jesus. That faith, believing, that transforms us. And I could go on and on about that. Now at that point, people will hear us talking about that, and they will say, that's fine for you to have this light, but that's your own personal light, and what you need to do is put it under a bushel. Don't say anything. Let everybody find their own light. Don't do it. And that is absurd as somebody lighting a lamp for the house and hiding it under a bushel. And even the children knew to tell me, no, don't do it. It's absurd. No, the light that's within you is to be a light for the world. You are a light of the world. And a person doesn't light a lamp and then put it under a bushel. Instead, they put it on a stand, on a lampstand, so that it sheds abroad to everyone in the house. That lampstand is something yet different. Jesus then explains what the lampstand is. Let your light so shine so that people will see your good works. That's what we talked about last week. That from the beginning, we were called to do those things that would love one another, that we would seek the best, and in the end, on Judgment Day, that standard will face us again. Did we, in fact, live for the other? And those good works are the stand upon which my light shines. If I want my light to shine, there's going to have to be those things that I do that show love in action, and people will see those acts of love and praise the Father in heaven and pay attention to the light. As long as I just live for myself and I don't do anything to show love for the other, then it's just my light, and I've hidden it under a bushel. But through those works of love, I have a lampstand, and now I can be the light of the world. Do you see the analogy? You see that the illustration that Jesus used out of what is very commonplace. Light up the world, making a difference in people's lives. Light up the world by making a difference in people's lives, in acts of love. You're lit up by the faith that transforms. Let that light shed abroad to other people, and it's going to be those acts of love. I was hungry, and you fed me. I was naked, you clothed me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. I was sick, and you looked after me. Not like Cain and Abel, where Cain murdered Abel because of rivalry and jealousy. No, like the Good Samaritan, that new model that Jesus gives us. Now, we have our little light, and I don't know if you feel the way I do, but if it's just left to myself, it's just one small candle. And someone can tell me all that they want. So, well, your little candle, it really makes a difference. But I know that if indeed we want to make a difference in the world, if we could combine our candle power, that light would create a much brighter flame and would light up the world like we're supposed to. And after all, Jesus said, you are a city, not an individual, a city on a hill. For over a year, our elders have been working on our mission statement. And that mission statement enables us to do collectively that which would give our whole church, us all together, a lampstand that would allow our light to shine, our faith to shine, and light up the world. And it was very important that making a difference in the world became part of the thinking in our congregation. Every one of us thinking, how can I be a part of helping make a difference in the world? And we ask ourselves this question: if our congregation wasn't here anymore, what would be the footprint that was visible? What would be the footprint that people would say, without the First Church of God people, this would not occur? And so our entire Make a Difference catalog of service activities came to be. That's why we're doing this Walk for Water, a new edition. That's why we're doing, why we did Volunteer Vincennes. That's why we're doing the mentor thing. And we're asking everybody, hey, can we join our candles together and as a congregation build a lampstand high enough to truly light up our region of the world? Because we don't want to hide it under a bushel that this sanctuary can easily become. You realize this could become just one giant bushel? We have great worship service in here, but out there, is the light shining? It's not going to be what we do in here. It's going to be what we do out there. It's going to be those acts of love that are visible, that form a lampstand on which our collective candles can then shine, and it's a very bright light. That would really make a difference. And so we said we need enough things that we do so that everybody can be involved, but we don't need so many different things that we're just all spread out and not making a difference in any one particular place. Why? Jesus said, let your light so shine that men would see your good works. Those good works, those acts of love, are the key to the light shining abroad, shedding abroad on those who live in this house, our corner of the world, our county. Light up the world by doing it together, by making a difference collectively. Now, as we do that, there's a shift there. Now, if I could be very honest, when I first started my ministry here, I think our mantra was, our idea was, let's get people in here, let's them come here because we have such great singers, and we do. Come here because we have such a nice sanctuary, it's certainly nice. Come here because we have such a really good-looking preacher, and my predecessor really was. How can we get people to come here? And we weren't thinking, how can we show our light by doing the good works out there? How can we attract people instead of how can we be on mission? We have decided that what we need to do is shift our thinking. Not that we don't want people to come in here, but we want to be people who are going out there. That's why we gave up a Sunday morning service to serve out in the community on Volunteer Vincennes Sunday. That's why we're going out to and including the high school choirs in our area and say, would you like to join us so that those in our congregation who are musicians can sing side by side to some of these young people, and that platform gives us an opportunity to shine our light. That's what we're trying to do. You see that? And so what we realized is that it's not just about us doing good things, but it's about us inviting others to come help us make a difference. We have noticed that what God created us to do, every human being, was created with this DNA to make a difference in somebody else's life in a positive way. To make a difference between poverty and wellness, between sickness and health. Make a difference between exclusion and rejection and inclusion. And I don't think we're the only ones. Those of us who worship on Sunday morning are not the only ones who get that. I hear it in phrases out there. People are saying outside of church, pay it forward, give back. Be there for other people. And it's there because God created every human being. Generally, people in the world, people in general, want to be good. They really want to help others. It is sin that prevents us from achieving that. It is sin that causes us to, in the end, look out for ourselves. Well, we have a little bit of an antidote for that. And so by inviting people to come help us make a difference, by doing the kind of things and saying, hey, why don't you join us? Why don't you come in and help us make a difference? Because it is the DNA of humanity, and it's not limited to the church. In fact, Christ is the antidote to the very thing that prevents us from doing what God created every human being to do. We have an answer here. We want to invite people to help us make a difference. And on that platform, we can share the difference that Christ made in us, the light. We can share our worship with someone who's already joining us in mission. And so we're saying, go and invite someone, not only be a part of making a difference, but invite others to join us, and then allow your light to shine. We want to make a difference. We want to make a difference between hunger and wellness, between sickness and health, between rejection and inclusion. We want to make a difference between hatred and love. And we also want to make the key difference between hell and heaven. How are we going to do that? So let your light shine, so that people would see what? Not your great singers, not your great preachers, not your great worship service, but see your good works. And on that pillar, our light shines, and we can invite others into the light. So we invite others to help us make a difference. And then finally, we need to talk about the light of faith, which makes the eternal difference. We need to talk about it. We need to engage people in conversations, and we need to get past the word that told us to keep it to yourself. That light is there just for you. No, Jesus said, put it on a lampstand, gain the credibility that comes from doing good works, and then put it out there. How do you do that? How do you engage someone in a conversation? Over the next several Sundays, quite a few Sundays, we're going to show you by different vignettes and little skits how you engage someone in a conversation. Pay attention to this video that gives you one example. Here's how you do it.
We got him from the animal shelter. You know, I don't think I'm going to mention this to Stacy. Man, I tell you, you own a dog for less than a week?
Gus, huh? I remember you guys saying you were thinking about getting a dog. And I saw you walking him a few nights ago. He was just wandering around my backyard. Cute little guy.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. So how are things going? You still crazy at work?
Oh, Charlie, I tell you, work, home, school, you name it, it's crazy.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Oh, no, it's good. It's like there's no time for anything else. Stuff I want to do anyway.
Really? Like what?
I don't know. For one, I'd spend some time outside. I feel like I spend most of my days staring at a computer screen.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. You know, back in college, I'd sometimes go weeks without seeing the sun. So is it just a busy time, or is it going to be like this for a while?
I don't know. Stuff at work should slow down in a few weeks, but then it's not as nice out, you know?
Yeah, I do know. It's like you have to take extra time to figure out when you can find extra time to get out. It's like this thing Stacy and I are doing this weekend. We had to reschedule so many things just to make it work. But it's done, and we're going.
Really? What are you doing?
You know that church Stacy and I go to?
Uh-huh.
Well, we're doing this really cool thing where we're going with a group of people, now get this, to help build a baseball field downtown. It's for a league this guy we know runs for troubled kids.
Really? Now that does sound interesting.
Yeah, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, any chance you want to go with us? Help out? Spend the afternoon outside on a baseball field? It's your favorite sport, right?
Yeah, it is. But listen, I appreciate the offer. I don't know. Things are so busy right now. I mean, it's mostly people from your church, right?
Yeah, but, you know, think about it. If you want to, great. If not, you're just missing out on a great time. Outside. But if you don't go, would you mind being on Gus watch while we're gone? Just drive around the neighborhood looking for him? Uh-huh. You know, I never even asked you if you went to church. Is there one you go to around here?
Well, actually, I grew up in the burbs, and it's been a lot of years. But we used to go to a church in our old neighborhood.
Really? What was that like?
Well, actually, it wasn't too bad.
This will be an ongoing series, part 2 of the same conversation next week. We want to show you, here's a way, it's very simple. Invite someone in, and then be willing to talk about your faith that makes an eternal difference. It's not enough just to be a person who does good things. If we don't let the light, if we build the candlestand of good works and don't let the light shine, then we have accomplished nothing for eternity. Build the candlestand. Let's do it together. That's our vision. That's what we're trying to do. That's what the elders and the pastors have been working on, so that we make a difference. And on the platform of that making a difference, we let the light of our faith that transforms us shine brightly. But none of that can happen unless you have first encountered Jesus Christ in that way, where you have found Him to forgive you. You have discovered that He wants to love you and claim you and call you His own child, make you a child of God. And He can do that. He will do that. That's the beginning point. That's the light. And then you let that light shine. So let me ask you, are you lit? Are you lit up? Have you given your life to Christ? And are you lit up? Are you ready to engage with others in doing those things that show love out there, so that we don't make this in here a big bushel basket to cover our light? Are you willing to be lit up so that your light will shine? If so, then you are a part of what the First Church of God is being called to do by God. And I invite you to do that. And I invite you to come and pray about it. Would you stand with me right now? And I thank you, Father, that you started it. Jesus, the light of the world, lit up our life. And now we want to be faithful in what you've called us to do. As simple as it is, Father, I pray that we would not fail for the sake of, for the fact of our busyness, for the fact of our tendency to let the light be there just for us. Father, you've called us to let it shine. We want to. And we pray in Jesus' name. Now, if you'd like to come forward just to say, I'm going to be a part of that, you can. If you'd like to receive Jesus Christ and you have not yet, would you come right now? Would you just start coming and receive Him? And if there's anything you want to pray about, we'd be glad to pray with you. If you come to this side, we'll know you want to pray alone. If you come here, a pastor will pray with you. Come as we sing, would you?